Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a deep dive into a topic I know many of you are fascinated by: longevity. And specifically, we're heading to Okinawa, Japan, a place that's practically synonymous with long life.
Yeah, Okinawa is kind of a gold mine for longevity research.
Right. And we'll be using Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a long and happy life, as our guide for this deep dive.
That's a great choice for exploring the Okinawan approach.
I thought so too. I'm really curious to see what we discover.
Me too.
Okay, so the book starts off by introducing us to Okinawa, specifically a village called Ogimi, which is nicknamed the Village of Longevity. Can you imagine living in a place where people routinely live past 100?
It's incredible. I mean, they have this remarkably low rate of cardiovascular disease.
I read about that, and a cardiologist named Dr. Makoto Suzuki, who actually studied the Okinawans, discovered that they consume an average of 18 different foods each day.
18.
I know, it's mind-blowing. What are they eating that's so special?
Well, their diet, often called the Okinawan diet, really emphasizes fresh, locally sourced ingredients. Lots of vegetables, tofu, sweet potatoes, fish, those kinds of things.
Oh, so things I already eat. But maybe not with the same frequency or mindfulness. The book mentions this concept of harahachibu.
Eating until you're 80% full.
Right, which I imagine takes some serious discipline.
It does, but think about how much better you'd feel after meals, energized instead of that sluggish feeling. That's the power of mindful eating, which is really at the core of the Okinawan approach. And it actually ties into another key concept we'll be discussing: Ikigai.
Ah, Ikigai, that elusive reason to get up in the morning.
Exactly.
But the book describes it as the happiness of always being busy, which seems a little counterintuitive in today's world, where everyone's talking about burnout.
That's a great point. It's definitely not about just staying busy for the sake of it. Think of it more like having a purpose, something that makes you feel truly alive and engaged. It's kind of similar to logotherapy.
Logotherapy.
Yeah, it's this idea that was developed by Viktor Frankl. It emphasizes finding meaning, even in difficult situations.
So whether it's Ikigai or logotherapy, it seems like the key is having something that truly motivates us.
Exactly, something beyond just checking things off a to-do list.
And the book suggests that having a strong sense of community can actually strengthen our Ikigai.
You're absolutely right. The book talks about MOAI, these social support groups in Okinawa.
I'm really intrigued by those. They're like built-in networks of friends and neighbors who support each other in all aspects of life.
It's amazing, right? They offer emotional support, financial help if needed, even social connections. It's like a safety net woven into the community.
I wish we had something like that here. It seems like so many people are craving that kind of deep connection. But how do they even work?
Well, usually they share common interests, meet regularly. They even contribute to a collective fund.
So it's a built-in support system.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right? If you're living to be 100, you're going to need a strong community around you.
It's like the opposite of that isolation we see so often today. And the book actually points out that chronic stress, which is often made worse by isolation, can speed up the aging process.
So managing stress is key, not just for our mental health, but for our lifespan too. It seems like the Okinawans really have this figured out. They incorporate gentle movement, even rituals, into their lives.
It's about understanding that mind-body connection, right? Think walking, gardening. They even do radio taiso, which is this synchronized stretching routine that's popular all over Japan.
Radio taiso, I've seen videos. It looks oddly compelling.
It's fun, and it really fits their approach to movement not as a chore, but as a natural part of life.
I love that. It seems like we're starting to see a pattern here. A healthy diet with lots of variety, strong social connections, finding purpose through Ikigai, and regular movement.
It's a more holistic approach, not just focusing on one aspect of health.
Exactly. And the book even goes deeper, exploring concepts like resilience, flow, and Wabishabi, the beauty of imperfection.
We have a lot to unpack.
I can't wait. I feel like the Okinawans have a lot to teach us, not just about living longer, but about living more fully.
I think you'll be surprised how many of these principles you already incorporate in your own life.
I hope so. So let's start with resilience. The book talks about this proverb, Nanakorobi yaoki, which means fall 7 times, stand up 8.
It's all about that spirit of not giving up no matter what.
So not just grit, but understanding that setbacks are inevitable.
Exactly. And it's about learning to control your reactions, choosing your mindset. The book actually connects this to Buddhist and Stoic philosophies.
It's about approaching life challenges with grace and strength.
Precisely. And it ties into our next concept, flow. Have you ever experienced that feeling of being completely absorbed in an activity, like time just stops?
Oh, all the time, especially when I'm writing. Hours can fly by, and I'm totally lost in the process. It's almost blissful.
That's flow. And Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, a psychologist who really studied this phenomenon, says experiencing flow regularly is key to happiness and longevity.
I can definitely see how that would be true. But is it something you can actually control?
Absolutely. The book gives some practical strategies like choosing tasks that challenge you but aren't too overwhelming, setting clear objectives, minimizing distractions.
So finding that balance between challenge and skill.
Exactly. And it's connected to this idea of microflow, finding moments of flow in your everyday tasks.
Even in things like doing the dishes.
Exactly. It's about shifting your mindset. Instead of viewing it as a chore, approach it with intention. Really focus on what you're doing. It might sound strange, but try it.
Okay, I'm willing to try. It's like finding the hidden magic in the mundane.
And speaking of finding beauty in unexpected places, let's talk about Wabishabi. It's all about embracing imperfection.
Right, like finding beauty in the things that aren't traditionally considered perfect.
Exactly. It's about appreciating the impermanent, the incomplete.
The book uses the Grand Shrine of Eyes as an example. It's rebuilt every 20 years.
A powerful symbol, right? It's not seen as less valuable because it's rebuilt. The rebuilding is part of what makes it beautiful.
It's a reminder that nothing is truly permanent, that change is the only constant. Kind of comforting, in a way.
And incredibly beautiful. It's about finding peace in impermanence, embracing the flaws and imperfections that make life unique.
That really resonates with me. Instead of striving for this unattainable perfection, we can find beauty in the present moment.
And in those things that are often overlooked.
Now, earlier we touched on movement. The book discusses some practices popular in Okinawa. Yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong. What do they all have in common?
Well, they all emphasize balance and harmony, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally too. They incorporate gentle movements, deep breathing, mindfulness.
So they're about supporting overall well-being, not pushing yourself to the limit.
Right. And they can be adapted for different ages and abilities. It reminds me of that quote from the book, "The body is your temple. Keep it pure and clean for the soul to reside in."
I love that. It's about treating your body with respect and care.
And that respect is so deeply ingrained in Okinawan culture. They view movement as a way to honor and nourish the body.
And it's not just about formal exercise, right? The book mentions that Okinawans incorporate movement into their everyday lives. Even simple things like walking to the market, gardening, or chores around the house.
Absolutely. It's about finding those natural opportunities to stay active throughout the day.
Okay, so we've talked about diet, movement, finding purpose. Now let's talk more about community, a concept that seems so central to Okinawan life.
It's the heartbeat of their culture. The book really highlights how those strong social connections contribute to a sense of belonging, purpose, and overall well-being.
And that's where the MOAI come in, right? Those social support groups.
We're like built-in families, providing emotional support, financial help if needed, a shared purpose that goes beyond the individual.
It's amazing to think about how those MOAI have been woven into Okinawan society for generations.
It's a powerful reminder that we're not meant to do life alone.
I agree. But how do they work in practice?
It's a combination of a formal structure and an organic flow. They have regular meetings, maybe weekly or monthly. They share meals, talk about their lives, support each other through challenges. Some even have a shared fund they contribute to.
So like a social club, a support group, and a financial safety net, all rolled into one. Incredible.
It's something we can all learn from, even if we don't have a tradition like MOAI in our own culture.
So it's about intentionally creating those supportive communities in our own lives.
Right. It could be something simple like regular coffee dates with friends, a book club, or volunteering for a cause you care about.
It's about finding people who make you feel seen and supported.
And who inspire you to be your best self.
Earlier, you mentioned that Ikigai, that sense of purpose, is often tied to contributing to the community. Do you think the MOAI play a role in that?
Absolutely. When you feel connected to a community, your actions feel more meaningful.
Like you're part of something bigger.
Exactly. And that sense of purpose can be so motivating. It gives you a reason to get up, to face challenges, to live with intention.
It's incredible how these different aspects of Okinawan life, the diet, the movement, the community, the sense of purpose, all weave together to create this remarkable tapestry of longevity and well-being.
It truly is holistic. It's not about chasing some unattainable ideal of perfection. It's about embracing the natural rhythms of life, finding joy in simple things, and nurturing the connections that give your life meaning.
And the book also emphasizes finding flow in your everyday activities.
Right, microflow. Remember we talked about finding flow even in tasks like doing dishes.
It's amazing how you can transform everyday chores into moments of presence and enjoyment just by shifting your perspective.
It's about being intentional and mindful in those moments.
It's like retraining your brain to see the beauty and wonder in the everyday.
Exactly. And the book suggests that finding flow in everyday life can actually contribute to a longer life.
Yeah.
When you're engaged and present in what you're doing, you're less likely to feel stressed. And that has a positive impact on both your mental and physical health.
Makes sense. It's about finding that sweet spot between challenge and ease. And the book offers great tips for cultivating flow, like setting clear goals, minimizing distractions, choosing activities that match your skills and interests.
All great strategies. And remember, flow isn't something that just happens. You can actively cultivate it with practice and intention.
So it's about making conscious choices that support well-being and create opportunities for flow.
It's a journey, not a destination. There will be days when it's easier to find flow than others. The key is to keep practicing, keep exploring, keep seeking those activities that bring you joy and make you feel alive.
As we talk about all this, from the diet to community to purpose, it strikes me how interconnected it all is. It's not about focusing on just one thing. It's about understanding how they all work together to create a long and healthy life.
You're absolutely right. It's a holistic approach, and it's empowering. We have more control over our health and well-being than we might think.
And that's a key takeaway. It's not about trying to live exactly like the Okinawans. It's about taking inspiration and adapting their principles to your own life.
Finding your own unique path to longevity.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm curious to hear what's resonated most with you. What will you take away from exploring the Okinawan approach to life?
For me, it's that reminder that longevity isn't just about living longer, it's about living better. Finding joy and meaning in each day, nurturing connections that bring love and support, and approaching life with curiosity and wonder.
Beautifully said. And that's a perfect note to leave our listeners on for now. As you go about your day, think about what small changes you can make to incorporate these principles. Adding more veggies to your plate, reaching out to a friend, taking a walk, finding a few moments for mindfulness. Remember, even the longest journey begins with a single step.
And the journey itself is the destination. Embrace the imperfections, savor the simple joys, and never stop exploring the wonders of life.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Okinawan longevity. We hope you found some valuable insights and inspiration. Until next time, keep seeking, keep learning, keep living life to the fullest.
Contributing to something larger than yourself, that can be incredibly motivating and fulfilling, giving you a reason to get up in the morning, to face challenges with courage, and to live your life with intention.
It's amazing how something as simple as feeling connected can have such a profound impact on our overall well-being. And speaking of simple things that make a big difference, the book talks about the importance of lifelong learning. It even mentions a study by neuroscientist Shlomo Bresnitz, who argues that our brains need constant challenges to stay sharp.
Right, challenging our minds. It's like exercise for the brain, keeps us sharp, adaptable, engaged with the world around us. Think about it. When was the last time you learned something completely new or pushed yourself outside of your comfort zone intellectually?
Honestly, it's probably been a while. I tend to get stuck in my routines.
So it's not just about doing crossword puzzles, it's about actively seeking out new knowledge and experiences.
So staying curious, keeping our minds active, being open to new ideas and perspectives.
Precisely. And the book also emphasizes the importance of quality sleep for longevity, getting enough rest. It allows our bodies to repair and rejuvenate, which is essential for overall health and well-being.
I know, I definitely feel the difference when I don't get enough sleep. I'm more irritable, less focused, just generally not at my best. But sometimes it's hard to prioritize sleep when there's so much going on.
I understand that. But it's worth making an effort to create a relaxing bedtime routine, limit screen time before bed, and ensure your sleep environment is conducive to rest.
Now, I'm really curious to hear more about the dietary specifics of the Okinawan lifestyle. We touched on it briefly, but I'd love to dig a little deeper.
Of course, the Okinawan diet is truly fascinating. Imagine a rainbow on your plate. That's what their meals often look like, with an abundance of colorful fruits and vegetables.
That's a great image. And you mentioned earlier that they prioritize fresh, local ingredients, so it's not just about what they eat, but also where it comes from.
Exactly. They have a deep respect for the land and the seasons, and they make the most of what's readily available to them. They're also big on seafood. a great source of omega-3 fatty acids, and they incorporate plenty of tofu and other soy-based products.
I've always loved tofu. It's so versatile and a great source of protein. But I'm not sure I've ever tried Goya or bitter melon, which the book mentions as a staple in their diet.
Goya definitely has a unique flavor. It's bitter, as the name suggests, but also slightly sweet. They often use it in stir-fries, soups, and even teas. It's considered to have many medicinal properties.
I'm definitely intrigued. I'm all for trying new foods. The book also lists a variety of antioxidant-rich foods that are part of the Okinawan diet. Can you share some of those?
Absolutely. Some of the key ones include miso tuna carrots, kombu or sea kelp, cabbage jicama, which is a type of Okinawan cucumber, seaweed, and turmeric.
Wow, that's quite a list. And many of those are readily available even outside of Okinawa.
That's right. And it's a great reminder that we don't have to completely overhaul our diets to incorporate some of these principles. Even small changes, like adding more vegetables to our plates or trying a new type of seaweed, can make a difference.
So it's about finding ways to make our diets more vibrant and diverse, and to incorporate more of those nutrient-rich foods that support longevity.
Precisely. And you know, it's interesting, the book also highlights the importance of green tea in the Okinawan diet.
I love green tea. It's so refreshing, and I've heard it has numerous health benefits.
You've heard right. Green tea is loaded with antioxidants, specifically polyphenols, which have been linked to a reduced risk of heart disease, cancer, and other chronic illnesses. The book even mentions that some researchers believe white tea may be even more potent in its antioxidant effects.
White tea, I'm not as familiar with that one.
It's similar to green tea, but less processed. It has a more delicate flavor and a higher concentration of antioxidants. You might enjoy giving it a try.
I'll definitely add it to my list. So the Okinawans seem to have a really holistic approach to diet. It's not about restrictive rules or fad diets. It's about embracing a variety of wholesome, nutrient-rich foods and finding a way of eating that feels sustainable and enjoyable.
That's a great way to sum it up. And I think it's a powerful message for all of us. We don't have to be perfect. We just have to find what works for us and make gradual changes that support our overall well-being.
Speaking of things that support our well-being, the book also touches on the importance of having a positive outlook on life and cultivating an attitude of gratitude. How do those factors play into longevity?
It's fascinating how our mindset can impact our physical health. Studies have shown that people who are more optimistic and grateful tend to have stronger immune systems, lower blood pressure, and even a reduced risk of chronic diseases.
So it's not just about thinking happy thoughts. It's about actually changing our brain chemistry and improving our physical health.
Exactly. And it's not about denying the challenges or difficulties in life. It's about choosing to focus on the good, the things we're grateful for, even in the midst of adversity.
It's about finding those silver linings, those moments of joy and beauty that exist even in the darkest of times.
Beautifully put. And you know, the book suggests that cultivating an attitude of gratitude can be as simple as taking a few moments each day to reflect on the things we're thankful for.
That's a great reminder. It's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of life and forget to appreciate the simple things. But even small acts of gratitude can have a ripple effect, creating a more positive and joyful outlook.
Absolutely. And I think that's a perfect segue into our next topic, which is the Okinawan concept of MOAI.
MOAI, those incredible social support groups that we talked about earlier. The book really emphasizes how these groups contribute to a sense of belonging, purpose, and overall well-being.
They're like built-in families. These groups of friends and neighbors provide emotional support, financial assistance when needed, and a sense of shared purpose that extends beyond the individual.
It's amazing to think how these groups have been woven into the fabric of Okinawan society for generations.
And it's a powerful reminder that we're not meant to go through life alone. We need each other. We need those connections that provide support, encouragement, and a sense of belonging.
But how do these moai actually work? Is there a formal structure, or is it more organic?
It's a blend of both. They typically have regular meetings, often weekly or monthly, where they share meals, discuss their lives, and support each other through challenges. They might also have a shared fund that members contribute to, which can be used to help members in times of need.
It's like a combination of a social club, a support group, and a financial safety net. That's incredible.
It is, and it's something that we can learn from, even if we don't have a tradition of moai in our own cultures.
So it's about finding ways to create those supportive communities in our own lives,
Yeah,
whether it's through joining existing groups or starting our own.
exactly. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It could be as simple as having regular coffee dates with friends, starting a book club, or volunteering together for a cause you care about.
It's about finding those people who make us feel seen, heard, and supported.
And who inspire us to be our best selves.
Now, you mentioned earlier that Ikigai, a sense of purpose, is often tied to contributing to the community. Do you think the MOAI play a role in fostering that sense of
Yep,
purpose?
absolutely. When we feel connected to a community, our contributions feel more meaningful. We're not just doing things for ourselves, we're doing them for the benefit of the group. And that can be incredibly motivating and fulfilling.
It's like we're all part of something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. And that sense of purpose, of contributing to something larger than ourselves, can be so incredibly motivating and fulfilling. Gives you a reason to get up in the morning, face challenges with courage, live your life with intention.
It really is remarkable how all these elements of the Okinawan lifestyle, the diet, the movement, the social connections, that strong sense of purpose, work together to create this picture of longevity and well-being.
It's not about reaching some impossible ideal of perfection. It's about embracing the natural rhythms of life, you know, finding those simple joys and nurturing those connections that give life meaning.
And the book also talks about finding flow in our everyday lives. It's not always about those big moments of inspiration or achievement. It's about finding little pockets of joy and engagement throughout our day.
Right, like we talked about before, that idea of microflow.
Mm.
Even something like washing dishes can become an opportunity for flow.
I'm really trying to embrace that idea, shifting my perspective on those everyday tasks, approaching them with intention.
It's about changing your mindset, approaching your whole day with intention and presence. You'll find those moments of flow, even in unexpected places.
Like you're training your brain to see things differently, to appreciate the beauty in the everyday.
Exactly. And the book even suggests that finding these moments of flow can actually contribute to longevity. You know, when you're engaged and present in what you're doing, you're less likely to feel stressed. And that's good for both our mental and physical health.
That makes a lot of sense. Finding that balance between challenge and ease. And the book gives those tips for cultivating flow. Setting clear goals, minimizing distractions, choosing activities that align with our interests and skills.
Those are great strategies. And remember, flow isn't just something that happens to you. You can actually cultivate it through practice and intention.
It's about making those choices that support our well-being and create opportunities for flow.
It's a journey, not a destination. Some days it's going to be easier to find flow than others. The key is to keep practicing, keep exploring, keep seeking out those things that make you feel truly alive.
It's incredible how all these pieces fit together. The diet, the movement, the community, the purpose. It's not about focusing on just one thing. It's about how they all work together to create a long and healthy life.
You're exactly right. It's a holistic approach, and it really is empowering. We have a lot more control over our well-being than we often realize.
And that's a great point to remember. We don't have to try to live exactly like the Okinawans. It's about taking inspiration from their way of life and finding ways to make it work for us.
Finding your own path to longevity and well-being.
So as we wrap up this exploration of the Okinawan secrets to longevity, what really stands out to you? What will you take away from this deep dive?
What sticks with me is that longevity isn't just about living longer, it's about living better. Finding that joy and meaning in each day, cultivating the connections that bring love and support, approaching life with a sense of wonder and curiosity.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect message to leave our listeners with today. So as you go about your day, ask yourself, what small change can I make today to incorporate these principles into my life? Maybe it's adding more vegetables to your meals, reaching out to a friend, taking a walk in nature, or just finding a few minutes for mindfulness. The longest journey starts with a single step.
And remember, the journey itself is the destination. Embrace those imperfections, savor the simple joys, and never stop exploring.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Okinawan longevity. We hope you found some valuable insights and inspiration. Until next time, keep seeking, keep learning, keep living life to the fullest.